If I could have everyone come into chambers, please, so we can start the meeting. Youth and Governance, family. Oh, there's a lot of people here. Yeah. Oh, I know. Joe, did I leave a binder over there? Like a youth and governance? Oh, you know what? I think I left it down there. Hey, Tim, that youth and governance binder right there, does it say Monica on it? You, Haas? I'll take that real quick. Thank you. Okay, I'm just going to check real quick and then we'll start. The time being 7:32, I'll call the meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call of supervisors.
There are 18 supervisors present. Supervisors Decker, Geertsen, Poole, Caro, and Nudo are excused.
State of the County address by County Executive Samantha Kirkman.
Good evening, Chairman Uhas, Vice Chair Gashke, members of the County Board, elected officials, youth and government members and their families, and fellow citizens of Kenosha County. It is my pleasure to deliver my second State of the County address, so I begin my third year as County Exec. And it's my honor to present it to this new County Board. We had 9 new faces join the board last month, and to all of you, I say welcome. Supervisors Nez, Gamma, Kirby, Morrissey, Garcia, Brown, Gray, Brookhouse, and Meadows. I know all of you have valuable expertise and enthusiasm to add to the county, and I look forward to working with all of you. We've had some familiar faces now sitting in new places. Chairman Uhas and I've enjoyed meeting with you and Vice Chair Gashke over the last several weeks, discussing our priorities for the county, and I am confident that we will work together. I'd add, Chairman Uhas, you and I are the first all-female county executive county board leadership team. Another first for the county. And a shout out to all the ladies on the county board, Supervisors Belsky, Brown, Decker, Kirby, and Nez. It's wonderful to see more female faces on the board too. And again, welcome to Supervisor Maurer and her daughter Mackenzie, who is joining us on the Youth and Governance Board. We've also seen 9 people leave the board recently. and I would be remiss if I didn't recognize their service to the county, particularly Supervisors Rose and O'Day, who departed with a combined 66 years of experience. I thank them for their many years of dedicated service. While we've seen quite a few new faces change on the board, we've also continued to see a watershed of change of leadership in our community. Sheriff Zorner came into office not too many months after I did, along with the new Kenosha Police Chief and new Fire Chief. We've seen new leaders take the helm of our institutions of higher education. Dr. Raju at Gateway, and now Dr. Aki at UW Parkside. Nicole Riff joined CABA as president last summer, and she has quickly become a friend of mine and the county's. And now, just a few weeks ago, we welcomed a new mayor, David Bogdala. We've already had a chance to sit down several times, and we see each other out and about everywhere. And I'm confident we will continue to work together, further strengthening the relationship between the city and the county, and seeking ways that we can work together to benefit the entire community. I've often said Kenosha County is one community. When the East End prospers, the West End benefits, vice versa. Recently, we've got together for our second budget vision session, and I want to thank this county board for the continued collaboration. Last year was the first time we gathered early for the budget vision meeting in the spring and the CIP preview in the summer to share the challenges and to gather the supervisors' input well before the budget lands on your desks in October. Laying the groundwork early, together we produced a 2024 budget that delivered on the needs of our county and lowered property taxes. And I'm looking forward to continuing the good work in the 2025 budget process. I'm also looking forward to working with Finance Committee Chairman Gens and many others to continue the success of a AAA county. We are one of just 7 counties in the state of Wisconsin to hold this top-tier bond rating. The state of Kenosha County is strong and looking better all the time. We have a lot of good stories to tell in the county and many more to come. With our Human Services Building Project, shovels have been put in the ground and it's full steam ahead through 2025, with move-in in 2026. The project team came to the county board a few months ago with some cost information that was a jolt to many of you, but factors of scope and cost have changed since the project was originally planned in 2019. I appreciate the board's support and partnership moving forward. The development is so important to serving our community. This is a legacy project that will stand the test of time. And as we all know, we can't keep Band-Aids holding the job center together forever. While construction continues on our human service building, the team working in human services continues to do an outstanding job. Director Jennifer Blasi has taken the reins at the Division of Veteran Services. She has done a terrific job of installing a new team in her office. I look forward to seeing them in action at our second annual Veterans Appreciation Picnic later this month at the Kenosha County's Veterans Memorial Park. I hope many of you will be able to join us. At Brookside, the census numbers have grown tremendously, allowing more residents to receive quality of care at our 5-star facility. At DCFS, we expanded the comprehensive community services program to serve more children and adults with mental health needs. In public health, the Kenosha County Overdose Response Initiative, CORI, recently celebrated its first year of working to save lives. CORI is a collaboration of efforts between the Kenosha Fire Department and Oakwood Clinic Associates, wherein a team of professionals go out into the community to deliver Narcan and other resource information to overdose survivors. Like our human services on-the-go efforts, this is a terrific example of taking services out into the community, meeting people where they're at instead of waiting for them to come to us. Kudos to our public health director, Lori Plummer, and her team for doing this life-saving work. In behavioral health, staff are developing a suicide prevention webpage to provide education, awareness, and ways to access services. In addition, in that same division, it's now been nearly a year since the start of the Kenosha County's groundbreaking relationship between Lake Behavioral Hospital, where we're able to send Chapter 51 mental health patients just a few miles down the road to Waukegan instead of 3 hours north to Winnebago. Before we even began this partnership, we knew there'd be obvious benefits for our patients and their families. They'd be closer to home, closer to their families and their community supports during their time of crisis. We knew there'd be cost savings for the county, and tonight I'm pleased to report the first quarter savings were more than $98,000, and based off that, we're projecting a $400,000 savings for the county this year. Let's give a round of applause to all our partners who came together to make this a reality. In IT, under our new leadership of our Chief Informational Officer, Mike Bastianelli, we continue to work to ensure the county's cybersecurity is protected from the attacks that we hear about far too often these days. Mike is also part of a team working with our Broadband Advisory Committee to allocate ARPA funds to improve high-speed internet to the underserved areas. I want to thank Chairman John Holloway for his leadership on this issue, and I look forward to announcing the next steps forward in the coming weeks. In Public Works, we celebrate great accomplishments a few weeks back. 2 projects received the 2024 Project of the Year Awards from the Wisconsin chapter of the Public Works Association. The Highway S expansion in Summers and the Highway EM resurfacing project in Twin Lakes. Many of us remember the Highway S expansion was the largest county trunk highway project in our history. It took a congested stretch of a 2-lane road from Highway 31 to the interstate and transformed it into a 4-lane divided highway that will stand the test of time as the gateway to Summers and the city of Kenosha. The Highway EM project wasn't as big in scope, but it was significant to the community it serves, conducted in partnership with the Village of Twin Lakes. Thank you to Supervisor Caro for your work on behalf of the county and the village to improve road quality, pedestrian safety, and stormwater drainage. Hats off to the team at Public Works that oversaw these award-winning projects. I'd like to take just a moment to wish a fond farewell to our former highway director, Clement Abandwa, who led these projects and many others. Clement departed last month for his new role as the highway commissioner in Dane County, significantly shortening his commute and taking his skills to a larger arena. We will miss him, but we wish him well. I look forward to appointing Clement's successor very soon. In the meantime, I am really excited about the addition to our leadership team made last week when Wyatt Moore accepted the position as Parks Director. Wyatt did an outstanding job in his previous role as Grant Specialist and Development Coordinator in our parks, and I'm excited to see where he'll take the park system as our next director. Wyatt's appointment will be coming to the board for confirmation next month, and I encourage you to support it. I'd also like to take a moment to give a positive update on a project that's been in the works for years. Some of you may recall that 3 years ago, the county received a generous matching grant from the Jeffress Family Foundation to support the restoration of the historic ceremonial courtroom in our beautiful courthouse. Tonight, I'm pleased to report that we are on the verge of meeting this match, and that we will get there with some final support from the community. When we hit the $1.35 million mark in funds raised, we will receive $675,000 from the Jeffress Foundation, and I am looking forward to working with this county board to make this restoration a reality. We've had some big events that are coming to our region this summer. The RNC in Milwaukee, and the DNC in Chicago. As the gateway to Wisconsin, Kenosha County will see an impact from these conventions. Delegates and other visitors will fill our hotels, and we will likely see some extra traffic on our roads. The nation will be watching us, and we will shine. Earlier, I noted the state of the county is strong and looking better all the time. And another thing is looking better. You might know what I'm talking about. My staff is calling this the worst kept secret in Kenosha County. Tonight, I am so proud to unveil the new logo for Kenosha County. It has been 42 years in the making since we last updated our look, and I think you might agree with us that this is moving our brand into the 21st century. And what you see here tonight is a result of many months of collaboration involving a working group including county staff and some members of this board. Thank you to Supervisor Belsky and Decker, and former Supervisors Rodriguez and Stock for lending their expertise to this effort. During the meetings that resulted in the design, Supervisor Belsky did an outstanding job articulating the symbolism of our new logo, which you will see in the resolution to adopt the new logo as our county's official seal. The new logo was designed to embody and embrace the essence of Kenosha County, a mix of new and old, honoring our past while looking towards our future. The logo features two prominent landmarks on our east and west, the Southport Lighthouse and the Honor Plaza at Kenosha County's Veteran Memorial Park. The lighthouse was built in 1866 and serves as the original navigational beacon for sailors entering Wisconsin, and continues to be a symbol of our maritime heritage. Including the lighthouse in the logo is a fitting tribute to our past and continuing our role as a gateway to the state. At the opposite end of the county, the Honor Plaza is part of a park that is dedicated to honoring the brave men and women who serve in our armed forces. The flag berm depicted in the logo is a powerful symbol of the county's unwavering commitment to its veterans, and it serves as a reminder of the sacrifices made by these individuals and their families. The ribbon of green of the logo represents the park system as well as the rural areas in the county. It symbolizes the county's dedication to preserving our natural beauty and providing recreational opportunities to our residents and our visitors. The blue ribbons represent Lake Michigan and our inland lakes, which are so much a part of the county's identity. From the team that developed this logo sees this as a perfect reflection of our identity as a county, a symbol that residents can be proud of and that visitors can identify with. We will continue to grow and evolve as a county. This logo will serve as a constant reminder of our unique character and our unwavering spirit. The rollout of the new logo begins now on our letterheads, our flagpoles, and our lapels. It will be a driving factor of the refresh of the county's website that will begin soon. I look forward to sharing that with you later this year. The state of Kenosha County is strong and our future is bright. May God bless you. May God bless America. May God bless Kenosha County. Thank you. And at this time, I'd like to welcome former County Board Supervisor, Mr. Bob Pitts, and his grandson, Alec, as one of our outgoing youth and governance members to present the new county flag. Thank you to Bob and Alec.
Supervisor Belsky?
Thank you, Chair Uhas. Following on the presentation from the county executive introducing the new county seal logo, I move to suspend the rules to move Communication 19 to the next item on the agenda and to take it up immediately without sending it to committee.
Is there a second? Second by Supervisor Gens. This is a non-debatable item, and it requires 2/3 of the present board majority. There will be a roll call, so please use your device. If you're in favor, yes. If you're against, no. Of suspending the rules.
Yes. suspend the rules. The motion passes, 17 yes. Okay. I thought that was a little funny, but, you know, it's you. It's all right, the motion passes unanimously.
Supervisor Belsky?
Yes, I'd like to move Resolution 19, and, go ahead.
Second.
Motion by Supervisor Belsky, second by Supervisor Grady. Supervisor Belsky.
Thank you. As County Executive Kirkman described key elements of the logo, I would like to add that the yellow arch represents the rising and setting sun, connecting the eastern and western ends of the county, and serves as a unifying symbol, reminding all citizens of their shared experiences and common bonds that unite them. The Kenosha County seal is more than a design. It's a perfect reflection of the county's identity, a mix of old and new, a gateway to Wisconsin, and a symbol that residents can be proud of and visitors can identify with. As the county moves forward, the seal will remain a steadfast representation of its heritage, values, and aspirations. I'm asking for everyone's vote this evening.
Any discussion on this item? Hearing none. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Resolution passes. Moving on to the recognition of the 2023-2024 Youth and Governance members. Camille?
Hello. Good evening, members of the County Board, Youth and Governance, and members of the Kenosha County community. My name is Camille Carlson, and I am pleased to introduce myself as the Positive Youth Development Educator with Extension Kenosha County. For those of you unfamiliar with Youth and Governance, it is a countywide local issues and to uplift and support youth's voice and leadership and civic engagement in our Kenosha community. Tonight, we will honor our 18th group of students to participate in Youth and Governance, the 2023-2024 cohort, and we will also welcome the 2024-2025 Youth and Governance representatives. We've had more than 300 youth participate in Youth and Governance since the program started in 2007. In these few short months in my role as the YIG coordinator, it is evident the dedication youth have to learning and leading, whether it is in their committees or about other issues within their communities, school-based or otherwise. The dedication from adults amongst the youth-adult YIG partnerships is also evident and invaluable. I would like to thank and recognize Chairman Uhas, Vice Chair Gashke, and the YIG mentors, especially for their role and support they offer in this program. I also thank other county board supervisors and other Kenosha leaders, like the county executive, for their support. I would also like to take a moment to thank the Youth and Governance families for all your support with the youth and helping them get to their meetings and everything. And lastly, I would like to thank the 2023-2024 YIG youth who have served this past year. Your contribution to the Kenosha County community is invaluable, and I hope to see you continue to utilize and continue to develop your civic leadership in the next few years and stay engaged in local affairs. Now, I would like to introduce two members of the 2023-2024 YIG cohort, Garrison Bryant and Jake Thomas, who will share. Yes, they will just both share a few short remarks on their experiences. Please welcome both of them. Thank you.
Okay. Good evening, members of the Kenosha County Board, family and friends, and fellow Youth and Governance members.
I'd first like to give a big thanks to the many members of the board who helped me feel welcome and valued during my time in youth and governance. I'd like to give a special thanks to Supervisor Belsky as my mentor during this time and for helping me understand what was going on and keep me in the loop of these complicated processes. I know being in government to a lot of youth isn't exactly easy, especially when you have all these acronyms and things you have to start understanding. Oh, what's things like a punch list? And these aren't just things you learn in school normally. I'm so happy to have been given this opportunity to really understand how government works as a firsthand experience, as well as to get a greater appreciation of our local government. I know for a lot of us, government isn't exactly this very calm thing and can sometimes seem scary. And so allowing me to put a face to government and see who really runs our government and just all the public servants has really gave me the understanding that this is a democratic process and that everyone is able to have a voice and is actually trying to improve our community. I hope this program will be able to continue to provide youth a voice in our government, and I believe that it has helped give me a voice in our government. With the experiences I've learned here, I'm able to continue to be a good citizen and be able to better participate in the political process in local community. So thank you again for helping support this program and continuing to lead Kenosha County.
Good evening. My name is Garrison Bryant, and I have had the opportunity to serve on the Legislative Committee for the past year. First of all, I would like to thank all of the members on my committee, and specifically my mentor, Daniel Gashke. All of these people have played a huge role in my amazing experience and helped me gain a better understanding of my county government. Mr. Gashke has helped me make this opportunity even more special. We even bonded over the fact that he lived in my hometown for a period of time, and it meant a lot to me to have that connection in such, like Jake said, in such an intimidating space. While I am not from Kenosha, this experience has shown me the strong community we have here. In the 6 years that I've lived here, I've seen people who show up and advocate for not only themselves, but for others. Every time I go to my committee meetings or county board meetings, I learn from perspectives I never would have seen otherwise. This opportunity has solidified my desire to pursue a degree in political science and a career in some aspect of politics. This program has been one of the few experiences I have had to show me the intricacy of my career choice. I wish all of the future members of Youth and Governance luck and hope you enjoy every minute of the experience just as I have. Thank you.
Thank you both for sharing. At this time, I would now like to invite the outgoing 2023-2024 representatives to come up, and I would also like to invite Chairperson Uhas to award the certificates. So if the youth could please come around and stand to the right and then move this way. Thank you. I am also inviting Supervisor Brown at this time to award the certificates, and Vice Chair Gashke will be announcing. Thank you.
All right, serving on the executive committee, we have Enza Price. Oh, okay. He's not here tonight, but Enza has been serving on the executive committee. Also on the executive committee, we have Alec Shires. Serving on the Finance and Administration Committee, we have Ignacio Perez. And Daniela Banda Hernandez. Serving on the Human Services Committee, we have Maddie Tanko. and Sona Hawkins. Serving on the Joint Services Committee, we have Riley Chamberlain. And J.J. Castro. Serving on the Judiciary and Law Committee, we have Michael Babu. And Angelina Lagunas. Serving on the Legislative Committee, we have Garrison Bryant. And Patrick Sterling. Serving on Planning, Development, and UW Extension Education Committee, we have Olivia Parrish. And Aksa Saad Kadri. Serving on the Public Works and Facilities Committee, Jake Thomas. And Evie Hernandez. We'd also like to thank our alternate youth and governance participants who were not specifically assigned to a committee. We have Vanessa Capando. Is that? Capado, thank you. And Anna Wilson. Thank you to each of our youth and governance participants this past year. Are we? I don't know. Are we doing any photos with?
Okay, next I would like to invite our 2024-2025 YIG cohort up here. Please come forward, and Deputy County Clerk Reggie will administer the oath of office.
Yes. So just start right now. Okay.
If you guys can just stand facing up, because you could be calling up. When you guys just stand No, I'm going to do the oath of office with them. And I'll do it right here. They can stand down.
All right, for the incoming Youth and Governance cohort serving on the Executive Committee, we have J.J. Castro. And Hersha Seetham Raju. Serving on the Finance and Administration Committee, we have Charlotte Sunday. And Sasha Strongzak. Serving on the Human Services Committee, we have Olivia Parrish. And Aksa Saad Kadri. Serving on the Joint Services Committee, we have Juliana Denure. And Ari Peeler. Serving on Judiciary and Law Committee, we have Melanie Jarzembowski. And Addie Lenz. Serving on the Legislative Committee, we have John Klenke. And Claire Cook. Serving on the Planning, Development, and Extension Education Committee, Kenzie Maurer. And Juniper Cresson. And on the Public Works and Facilities Committee, we have Garner Williams. And Jacob Weidman.
So we are doing the oath of office now for the youth and governance. As I read it, you repeat it back to me, and then when we are done, I'll need you to sign it and hand them back into me so I can file them within my office, and they'll be returned to you later after I get them filed. Okay? All right. Well, welcome you guys to a new term of this. I've been very impressed over all my years of being around the youth and governance. It gives me great hope for our future. So thank you for doing this. All right. Have you raise your right hand, please? I, and say your name, having been duly appointed as a member of the 2024-2025 Kenosha County Youth and Governance, will serve by participating in Kenosha County Board Committee meetings, do hereby agree to abide by the applicable standards of conduct that would govern any elected county board member and serve our county to the best of my ability. Congratulations and thank you.
Just like an extra row, I guess. We're working together now. I'd say we're good, yeah. You're close.
We will continue with citizens' comments. Are there any citizens wishing to speak? Please state your name and address for the record.
Rodriguez, 2715 70th Street. I think this is the first time on this side of the podium. Good to see you all again this evening. I want to thank the County Executive's Office for a kind gift for those of us that were on the commission or committee, if you will, the working group to rebrand the county. I think it was well overdue. And I'm glad to see this board tonight take action to adopt it right away. I just want to take a minute to kind of give you an update. We heard from the County Executive tonight about the Branch 3 courtroom, which might be a different branch currently. As many of you know, for those of you who I served with, this is a very passionate project of mine, and I just want to take some time to thank our Blue Ribbon Committee and our working group, specifically retired Judge Mary Kay Wagner and retired County Executive John Collins. Without them and without the entire group as a whole, we wouldn't be here tonight to give you that update that we did. The former County Executive Jim Cruiser approached me and he said, hey, I've got this project that we're eyeing up. Would you like to be part of it? And being someone that spends some time in the courthouse for my employment, I was very passionate about this from the get-go. And I checked in with Joe Patente a few weeks ago, or a week ago, and I said, hey, what's the status on this project? Because our fundraising deadline is coming up, June of this year. And just a year ago, less than a year ago, we were far and away nowhere near our deadline and our fundraising goal. And so the work that the Blue Ribbon Committee put in, the work that Joe put in, the County Executive, with reaching especially private business, who we call partners here in Kenosha County, really is astronomical. To raise the amount of money we needed to raise in a very short period of time, and we're just about there. And if we don't meet this deadline by the end, or if we don't hit this fundraising goal by the deadline, the project goes away. The Jeffries Foundation is taking their money. It was a challenge grant. It had stipulations, and those stipulations were that we needed to double that fundraising that they were giving to the county. And we're so close to being there. So my challenge for each of you tonight is to consider pledging a donation to the project. When I talked with the former county executive and the current county executive about this project, it was the county and county government addresses needs and wants. And while this is an incredible project, it's a want. It's not something that we need to spend, 6 figures on, 7 figures on. But it's something that the community has obviously showed an interest in. Myself, my former constituents, now my new neighbors, they're passionate about this. Those of us who called Kenosha, or those who called Kenosha County home before each of us did, built an incredible building that would stand the test of time and something to hand down to future generations that call Kenosha County home. We're coming up on the 100-year anniversary of the project, and we'd really like to unveil this someday, maybe in correlation with that anniversary of the courthouse. So consider making a donation to the Kenosha Community Foundation. They are the ones who are acting as the conduits for this project. And I just want to thank Board Supervisors Decker and Geertsen for their contributions, and then former Board Supervisors, myself and Supervisor Rose for his contribution to this. It's not everybody's cup of tea, but it is for a lot of people, and it's a really joyous occasion for the county. While there are some grim things that happen in that courtroom, there's been some very, very happy things that happen in that courtroom, whether it's children finding their forever home, the swearing in of elected constitutional officers here in Kenosha County, or what have you. So please, if you have any questions, you can feel free to reach out to me. I've got tons of info on the project, or feel free to reach out to Joe Patente or the County Executive's Office, and very much consider, if you will, donating to the project. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Please state your name and address for the record.
Marita Huff, 7939 34th Avenue, Kenosha, Wisconsin. I'd like to thank all of you for serving. I'd like to thank all who have served in the past. I was just blown away by the number of years O'Day and Rose served. It's just mind-boggling. So it's wonderful. I'd also like to thank Terry Flores and the Kenosha News. Terry's the person who covered a lot of these meetings. She was the first one who mentioned in an article that she submitted that Supervisors Rose and Decker had submitted a new resolution stating that the Kenosha County division heads may be removed by the pleasure of the county executive without cause and without recourse or appeal process. Well, this riled myself up and a whole bunch of other citizens, and we have been vigilantly watching the board ever since. And if it weren't for that, I'd be sitting home. So thanks to the news. And I'd just like to say that this Policy 12 was enacted in 1996, and it protects a little bit the division heads, that they may be terminated for cause, such as insubordination, they may be downsized, and if they fail to meet goals which have been set up if they needed to be improved at an annual review, if they did not do the steps that were needed indicated by their review, then they could be terminated. So I don't see why you need more options than that to fire anyone. Terry Rose specifically mentioned that a department head had been, I believe he said, dead wood for years around here, and we couldn't get rid of him. Well, whose fault is that? I mean, you had the tool to get rid of the person if they were not pulling their weight. So I just hope that you let Policy 12 go back into operation and do its job. I'd also like to know, as long as I've got the mic, why we can't tell Amazon and Uline that any additional buildings that they build should have solar panels on the roofs. We hate to give up farmland for solar farms. Uline has 9 million square feet of warehouse space that is lit and climate controlled. It has acres and acres of paved parking, but which collects heat from the sun and radiates it back, but not creating any energy. And in other parts of the country, they do have warehouses that have solar, and one of the representatives at a city meeting said that, oh, solar isn't effective in this part of the country. Well, the solar that I have on my roof of my house is very effective on my utility bill. So that's a lot of hogwash. And so they love it here. They love having access to I-94. They love being in the middle of the country. They like building great big buildings. There's no reason why they can't put solar on the tops of them. And so I liked the report saying that we saved, was it $400,000 transporting people just to Lake County. That's a wonderful thing for mental health care. Perhaps if the city and the county work together and talk to the leaders of Freighter South, they might be able to convince them to open the inpatient mental health wards that they promised when they closed down medical care in that building, and have not moved in that direction since. Maybe some of this money could sweeten the deal a little bit, and we would save even more money and a lot of pain for the people that have mental health issues in this county. Thank you.
Thank you. Please state your name and address for the record.
Thanks. Hi, I'm Amanda Becker. I'm at 1807 81st Street in Kenosha. I am here tonight for the first, the repeal of resolution number 2 that Supervisor Gantz put forward. I know tonight's the first reading, and that you'll vote on it during the next county board meeting. I wanted to come tonight and just give my thoughts on it, just something to ponder kind of as you're reading through the resolution. At the end of the county supervisor has the ability to fire at will is a person. I am a full-time employee, not for the county. I am responsible for making sure that there's a roof over our head, there's food on the table, that my kids are clothed, that they have everything that they need. And if I were working in an environment where I knew that my boss could fire me at will, what do you think that would do? I wouldn't perform at my best because I need to have confidence and trust and security in my job. I wouldn't feel confident that I could provide for my family. I'd be afraid to make a move, afraid for every step, afraid for every decision that I'm making in case it's the wrong one that gets me fired at will. So there are HR policies in place to protect employees, and as a result, also protect employers. It sounds like there's a good one that was in place from 1996, and maybe it needs some fine-tuning and some additions to it. But I'm hoping that you all will consider repealing that policy because I think it's a poor one. and I don't think that it serves people very well, nor does it serve the positions that these folks are in. Thanks.
Thank you. Please state your name and address for the record.
Veronica King, 5518 34th Avenue, Kenosha. Many of you recall last year during County Thunder, an African-American reporter from Channel 4 went out to cover the Country Thunder event and was called the N-word while she was out there. Law enforcement did nothing to address that situation. So my question is, what is in place for 2024 to protect individuals of color that choose to go to County Thunder, whether they be a news reporter or whether they be a citizen, to protect us at that event? What is in place for 2024? Because we saw what happened in 2023. And so my question to the county board, to the sheriff's department, those that are the producers, what is in place for 2024 to protect citizens of color that choose to attend or cover the event as part of their employment as a journalist or a news reporter? Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak? Anyone else wishing to speak? Hearing none, citizens' comments are closed. Moving on to announcements of the chair. I am sending the Keene report to the Public Works Committee, and Supervisor Grady, who is the Chair of Public Works, will discuss under his supervisory reports how he's going to approach the Keene report in that committee. On June 4th at 6:30, there will be a committee of the whole in these chambers. We do have 9 new supervisors, and I feel it's very important that we have some safety training as far as if there's an active shooter, something happens in back, how do we respond in these chambers? Where do we go? What do we do? I also asked for some AED training as well in case someone has a heart attack. And where is the AED? It's better to have that information, hoping we never need it. But as chair, I feel it's my responsibility to ensure that I'm giving you all the tools that I can provide, the sheriff's department can provide. If something does happen, we know how to address it and how to make the best decisions to keep ourselves safe and make it home that night. The other thing I'd like to remind you is that the 2024 WCA Annual Conference will be held at the La Crosse Center, September 22nd through the 24th. Room reservations, conference registration, and mileage to the conference is paid for by the county. First-term supervisors, your registration for the conference is free. The conference is not required, but all supervisors are encouraged to attend. There are slips on your desks. Complete and return the slips to the clerk tonight, if you can, please. They would appreciate it greatly. And then I would also like to announce the Youth and Governance. We have Claire Koch and JJ Castro joining us tonight, just inducted and joining us for the first meeting. So welcome and thank you for attending. And moving on to supervisor reports. Supervisor Grady.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm here to report upon our meeting that we had last evening at the Public Works Committee. The first thing we can talk about is the Keene report, which I have a hard copy of here on my desk. And just to kind of familiarize everyone in the room with it, it is more of an operational type document. So it talks about specifically Kemper, which is on part of the footprint there. Anderson Arts is also related to that, but it's not part of this specific report as much as Kemper is. And it details what the consultant has set out in terms of recommendations. Now, the thing to keep in mind is we're not under any particular imminent time agenda, as our agreement with Kemper Inc., which is the nonprofit that kind of manages and helps out the operations there, goes through August of 2027. So we have quite a bit of time in order to take a look at this keen document, review it in our committee, and come forward with recommendations. However, when I take a look at the bigger scope of this project and what's involved, operations is one thing, but we have some data that we don't really have hard information on like we would like to have. Namely, if you've been to the area, which is Kemper and Anderson Arts, it's right by Lake Michigan. It's a big lake. It's an angry lake. It does nasty things different times of the year, especially in the winter. So currently, we are in a process of seeking grants for shoreline revetment. Tremendously expensive, tremendously labor-intensive. The city is doing some other shoreline projects which may dovetail into this. We may get some type of economy of scale by doing it. We have one of our state senators applying for grants to be able to defer this cost. So before we talk about anything that involves physical structure, we want to make sure that the thing's not going to go underwater. I mean, this is just first things first, right? Second thing is, we have some type of confidence in the building envelope of Kemper in terms of the roof and the external repairs that need to be done just to maintain it. What we don't have, and I need to find out from our Public Works Department, and again, this will take some time, is the structure itself, as far as Kemper goes, is it sound? I mean, do we need an engineering firm to come in and evaluate this before we would conceivably do anything at all? Make improvements, not make improvements, whatever. So I guess just in a nutshell, this is just the opening salvo. The jury's entirely out. We have a lot of work to do on a committee level before we can come forward and make a recommendation. So we're not going to rush a judgment on this. It'll be one of these things where we'll take our time and review it. The committee has the virtual copy of the Keene report. It was sent out by email earlier this week. Any supervisor that would like a copy of the Keene report, we can make it available to you. So just state your preference and we'll take care of it in that manner. We have a very active spring schedule slated for Public Works. You can imagine with all the things that involve construction projects and so forth, it's going to be a regular round robin of interesting things. On each supervisor's desk, you should be able to find a little flyer that talks about the recycling that's going to happen at the Kenosha County Center, abbreviated KCC for you people who like the alphabet soup. It happens from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. Saturday, June 1st. And I have not been to it in the past, as I live in the city. I get most of my recycling done here, but Supervisor Nordigan, through the chair, if he may speak on this, he's got an inside tip for you all.
Thank you, Chair Uhas and Chair Grady. The secret to us going out and doing our drive-through, I guess in household hazardous waste, e-waste, refrigerants collection and all that, is don't go at 8 a.m. It is a very long line and long wait. Give it about 2 hours. You know, swing in there at 10, 10:30, or 11. You still have plenty of time. It goes much quicker that way, and everyone's time is valuable, so that's my tip of the day. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Nordigan.
So this is kind of a big deal. It's really incumbent upon those who live west of the I especially to make the constituents aware that this is a kind of it's a once-a-year thing. We in the city of Kenosha have a little bit more flexibility in that the Kenosha Water Utility has it, I don't know, a couple, 2-3 times a year. This is kind of one of. So if you get a chance to alert your constituency anywhere in Kenosha County, I mean, anyone can participate if you're a Kenosha County resident, but it just seems more applicable to those who are on the west edge of the county. So just keep that in mind and get that out there. We have several items that I'm going to refer to later on in the meeting, and they're resolutions that actually are coming forward, and those are listed as a easement for the facilities, and that's for this downtown campus here for power line rerouting. There's also approval for a master share bike program agreement, an understanding between Kenosha County and Camp Lakes Rehabilitation District, and an IGA on transferring 3 parcels which have come up as a tax deed situation involving Hillside Hardware in Kenosha. So a little bit more involved, so I'm not going to dwell on those until it actually comes up. But just to break the ice and get going here, we can talk about the division of highways, the projects that are going on. And thank you to Joe Potente. Also on your desk, you have this very nicely prepared document, which is a construction document that shows all the various things that are going to go on that will affect your daily life and your constituents, because the roads are going to be torn up, and it's going to be issues with people moving about and so forth. So I'll hit some of the highlights, but to go through every single road project and so forth, I mean, how much time do you have? How late do you want to be? So, yeah, we'll try to make this brief, but we'll just start off by saying, if you know the southern part of Kenosha County, County Highway Easy and Russell Road, that's a roundabout. Part of it's in Illinois, part of it is in Wisconsin. It's down there by Kroger and so forth, and it's one of these issues that needs to be addressed. The good news is Illinois is going to pay for almost all the entire cost of this project, with the exception of one small sliver of land that we have to acquire on the Kenosha County side of the roundabout. So it's kind of a win for Kenosha County, and we get infrastructure improvement, but our investment in that is really marginal, it's minimal. So that is an ongoing thing. We're not really into it yet, but I'm just kind of bringing it up so you're aware of it. One of the larger ones that will affect people directly, County Highway H. State Highway H, 165 to 93rd Street, June 3rd, torn up, closed down, no travel lanes. It's going to be at least a several-month project, and there'll be, signs for detours and so forth, but if you're a user of County H in the southern part of Kenosha County, be aware of it, be prepared. County E, from Sheridan Road to Highway G, which is 30th Ave, that is currently torn up, and that won't probably be done until September of this year. So again, we've got all these different areas that are impacting us. The one that kind of annoys me, I thought we were finally done with Highway 50. You're never done with Highway 50. There's always something on Highway 50. So what it is currently is, by the Fox River out there in New Munster, there's actually some road work that's being done. Travel lanes are still open, but it's just a little bit of a bottleneck when you get into that. It's probably about a mile stretch, maybe 3/4 of a mile stretch, just Highway 50 by the Fox River there. And again, that will not be done until the fall, but they're working on it. Actually, they're doing pretty good progress, so that's the news there. In Parks, you heard that we have a new director, Wyatt Moore. He was made mention of and will come before us for approval next month. We feel he has a good degree of institutional knowledge because he was a grant writer for the Kenosha County Parks Department. By all accounts, pretty solid, done a really good job there. Other things, let's just keep going along with parks here. There's a free life jacket rental program, a life jacket free rental program at a life jacket kiosk being built and installed at Freedom Lake. Who knows where Freedom Lake is? Anyone know? Frederick, where's Freedom Lake? It's the new Veterans Park on the west end of Kenosha. It is a 40-acre lake, which is for non-motor. So if you want to swim, you want to scuba, you want to paddleboard, you want to kayak, canoe, it's all there. But they're making sure that everyone has life jackets, and we've seen that in the press lately. What they have in the Kenosha News, all the leaders of the area dressed up in their finest life jackets. What else do we have here? Oh, a few other things, but let's just move on and keep going here. Facility. In this particular report, we're looking at some limestone repairs that have to be done to the facade of this building. This is KCAB, Kenosha County Administration Building. And last night in committee, we were advised that that's going to be taken care of, because when you have limestone, if water gets in behind the limestone, it can attack the metal fasteners, cause them to expand and actually pop the limestone and make it a mess. So this has already been done at Ruther first, which is the old Mary Bradford High School. Second, it was done at the courthouse, and now third is being done here in this building, but it's a relatively minor amount of repair that needs to be done compared to those very large projects. Also in this building, we're on the final phase of the heat pump replacement, Phase 5, which has been a project that's carried on for a long time, so you'll hear more about that. And then also, we're taking a look at the detention center, which is out there on County H, just in between 52nd Street and Washington Road. It's just north of the DMV building out there. It's been another long one. We're on Phase 2 out of 4 phases. Phase 2 will be done. Phase 3 will be completed in early 2025, and we still have Phase 4 to go. But it's one of these things that it's a money pit. It's, it's $2 million here, $2 million here, because these HVAC units are aged. You can't get parts for them anymore. They have to be replaced. There's no way around it. But what we've done is we've actually spread some of these large capital expenditures into several budget cycles. So instead of getting hit with, all this money at one time, it's a capital project for '24, capital project for '25, but that's nearing completion. 2 other items of interest, so we're doing replacement generator concepts here for the county center, I should say Highway 1545 out there, and then also for Brookside. They both need replacement generators. So it's one of the things we're working on, that if the power should go down, these would step in and take over, so we're not solely dependent upon the grid. Some big thunderstorm comes along and we don't know what the future holds. All right, we're going to wind this up. We're getting down towards the end here. Golf is an interesting proposal. If you've not been aware of counties past in golf, it's been a long and storied history. As recently as 10 years ago, it was bleeding money. It was in the red. It was not profitable. We had a massive debt at Brightondale, which had to be satisfied by paying it off. But it's been currently turned into, past 10 years, what's called an enterprise fund, which means golf is supporting itself. It pays for itself, and we're not looking for tax or revenue to support it. That's been a good thing. Well, the happy news was our director of golf told us that at this time, which is early in the golf season, we're 4,000 rounds above last year. Last year was a good year. So in terms of carrying on and going forward, we're most pleased that this enterprise can keep going, providing quality recreation and entertainment for Kenosha citizens, not at the cost of the taxpayers. What else? I think I could go on and on, but I think I'm going to leave it off there. And for our next meeting, we're going to have somewhat of a rotating schedule. Our next meeting will be June 24th, Pringle Nature Center, which is in Bristol Woods. So if you can think about the intersection of County C and M as in Mary, B as in boy, MB, it's approximately a quarter mile, half mile south of that intersection on MB. It's really a cool place. It has woods, it has, a little mini stage and amphitheater. It's got a Pringle Nature Center, which has an aquarium. It has a bunch of animals representative indigenous to the southeastern Wisconsin area. And it has the coolest motorized wheelchair you could ever see. It looks like a tank. You could sit in it, a disabled person could, or anyone could, and it's got these monster tracks on the side of it. So if you're a disabled individual and you want to go fishing, or you want to go through the woods, or you want to go somewhere you couldn't normally go, instead of have a caregiver take you there, you can get on this bad boy and you can rock it all around the place, and it's for free. So this was something that Supervisor Nordigan and former director Matt Collins came up with. They put their heads together, and please, I encourage you all to come out early. We're going to start the meeting at 6 o'clock instead of 6:30. So bring your friends, bring your family, bring your neighbors. It's a wonderful opportunity to see the place. And with that, I think I've said enough.
Thank you, Supervisor Grady. Supervisor Belsky.
Thank you, Chair Uhas. I won't go over all the items that we covered in judiciary and law because they're actually on the agenda tonight, but I would encourage supervisors to attend judiciary and law meetings. You really learn a lot. If you can't make it, follow up with the meeting minutes when they're approved the following month. But you're all welcome to come, ask questions, participate. I will be changing the format of the agenda for judiciary and law to include judiciary. My intent, after I talk with Chair Uhas and review what I want to cover, is having not only the DA there, but clerk, and getting some detailed reports, and I think a lot of exciting things. So I look forward to meeting with Chair Uhas to look at how I'd like to revamp this, and I encourage you all to attend our meetings. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Belsky. Supervisor Nordigan.
Thank you, Chair Uhas. To Chairman Public Works, Chair Grady, question, two questions, one question. On County Highway 8, you said it's going to be shut down completely, or are they going to split it up into two areas, shut down one, get that fixed up, and then shut down the other?
No, as it regards on County H, I asked that question specifically, shut down entirely or keep one travel lane open, and my reply given to me by the person in highways was shut down entirely.
Wow. Okay, thank you. And then clarification on golf.
Yes.
Golf's capital improvement was paid for by the taxpayers up until 2022. 2023. That's when it finally funded itself. So all of the improvements at golf are now 100% funded by golf and golf fees, and we as the county taxpayers are not paying to increase. Now, it's great that we did in the past because it's become the facility that's become, but going in the future now, they can sustain themselves just like Brookside does, and thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Nordigan. Any other comments from supervisors? Hearing none. Moving on to county executive appointments.
County Executive Appointments 2, Barbara Ford to serve on the Zoning and Board of Adjustments.
Refer to Planning, Development, and Extension Education Committee.
3, John Morrissey to serve on the Local Emergency Planning Committee.
Refer to Judiciary and Law Enforcement Committee.
4, Lori Palmer to serve as the Kenosha County Health Officer.
Refer to Human Services Committee.
5, Keith Gray to serve on the Pringle Nature Center Board.
Refer to Public Works and Facilities Committee.
Ordinance 1 from the Planning, Development, and Extension Education Committee, an ordinance supporting temporary moratorium on the consideration and/or issuance of zoning permits, building permits, conditional use permits, and zoning approvals for battery energy storage systems pending enactment of zoning ordinance to address these systems and protect the public health, safety, and welfare of Kenosha County residents. This passed unanimously at committee. Supervisors Brown and Thomas were excused.
Okay, that was moved by Supervisor Brookhouse and a second by Supervisor Meadows. Supervisor Brookhouse.
Do you want us to
No, I don't.
Okay, we have some questions here. Supervisor Brown.
Yes, thank you. I would like to ask that we move Ordinance 1. I would like to move Ordinance 1. As the clerk mentioned, this passed at the committee level unanimously. We're asking for a 6-month moratorium to allow for adequate time to assess the effects of battery storage systems and ensure meaningful development and implementation of the same. I ask that the board approve this ordinance.
Okay, Supervisor Brown, you were absent at that meeting, so you can't move it because you were not present. That's why Supervisor Brookhouse is moving the motion, and it's being seconded by Supervisor Meadows. You're able to speak on it, but I can't have you move it because you weren't there.
So then, can I restate and say that, so skip that part. As the clerk pointed out, this passed unanimously at the committee level, where I was missing. But we are asking for a 6-month moratorium to allow for adequate time to assess the effects of battery storage systems and ensure meaningful development and implementation of the same.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Brown. Supervisor Thomas.
Yeah, I have a question probably for Andy Bueller, or it could be anyone who was on the meeting. I was not there. And in reading through this, I'm not sure if this is intended only for commercial purposes, or does this apply to residential homes as well? Or is it only people trying to buy and resell energy? So I just want some clarification on who this actually affects.
Andy?
Sure, Andy Bueller, Director of Planning and Development, and so it's commercial developments, things that would come before PETA committee, basically that would need a conditional use permit, and so right now we do not have any conditions for this type of development. It's a new energy type that's out there, and so we're looking to get ahead of the curve before they start to look in our community. We already know that there's interest, and we have been working with one of the companies that has an interest in Kenosha County, Tenaska, and they're willing to work with us on trying to put these conditions together. And again, it's for a commercial sense, not for individual property owners.
Okay, is that spelled out in here and I just overlooked it?
Joe, I mean, I don't think it gets to that detail from a standpoint of the differences.
Should there be language in there that deals with it, that this is only for commercial purposes? I'm just asking in general if that was brought up in the committee or not.
It was not brought up. It has not come up anywhere along the way. I think it was understood it was in regards to the nature where it would have to go for approval through PDEC.
Okay.
It's a zoning issue, and so there would be a commercial sense for that to occur, because private doesn't go before committee.
Okay, fair enough. The other thing, I'm sort of familiar with this industry, was it talked about at all on, since part of this has to do with the fire related to batteries and you're not able to put them out in a traditional fire sense, was it also talked about on the, and then maybe we don't have any, this wouldn't come before this committee either, I'm not familiar with this, but on electrical vehicle charging stations that are either supplied by battery storage systems or for the cars that are being charged, as there's potential for the cars to start on fire as they're being charged as well. Would that fall under this committee as well?
It would not.
Okay, so if someone wants to put in commercial charging stations at a Quick Trip and they want to put in 5 of them, we wouldn't have anything to do with that?
It would not.
Okay, all right, fair enough, thank you.
You're welcome.
Supervisor Belsky?
Do we have a motion on the floor to be discussing this? Who made the motion?
Supervisor Brookhouse, and it
Oh,
was
he
seconded
did?
by Eric Meadows.
Oh, okay.
And then Guida, or Supervisor Brown.
I didn't even hear
wanted
it.
to.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Did you hear it? Any further discussion on this item? Hearing none? Oh, Mark? Supervisor Nordigan?
Thank you, Chair Uhas. Andy, out in the county, we have county zoning. So if somebody was going to put in a solar array with a battery backup, do they not need a conditional use permit to do that currently? So Randall, Brighton, Paris?
They do not.
They do not. So there's no conditional use permit needed for anybody putting in a solar array and their own battery backup for it?
Not for residential, correct.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted, that was the point I want to clarify here. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Nordigan. Supervisor Belsky, I have you on. Would you like to speak? No. Okay. All right. I don't see anyone else wanting to speak. So all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
New business, Policy Resolution 1, first reading. From the Finance and Administration Committee, a resolution to repeal 2022 Policy Resolution 2 and adopt a policy regarding Kenosha County Division Heads. Resolution 1, from the Human Services Committee, a resolution to approve the appointment of Supervisor Dave Geertsen to serve on the Board of Brookside of Trustees. This passed unanimously at committee. Supervisors Brown and Thomas excused.
This was moved by Supervisor Franco and seconded by Supervisor Kirby. Supervisor Franco.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move Resolution 1.
Moved by Supervisor Franco, second by Supervisor Kirby. Supervisor Franco.
Yes, in the May 7th Human Services Committee meeting, a resolution was unanimously passed to approve the appointment of Supervisor Dave Geertsen to serve on the Brookside Board of Trustees. Supervisor Geertsen is eminently qualified for the position, has served on the community in many capacities, including being the CFO of Kenosha County for 20 years, serving as a trustee on the Village of Summers, was a board member of the Kenosha Community Foundation for 25 years, and held the position of treasurer for the Kenosha Community Health Center. Supervisor Geertsen will be serving out Supervisor O'Day's term, ending in January 2025, and will then be up for reappointment to a 3-year term starting in January 2025. I ask for the board's support for this appointment. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Supervisor Franco. Is there any discussion on this item? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Resolution 2, from the Judiciary and Law Enforcement Committee, a resolution to approve the appointment of Monica Uhas to serve on the Joint Services Board. This passed unanimously at committee. Supervisors Brookhouse and Gray excused.
Supervisor Belsky.
I move Resolution 2.
Moved by Supervisor Belsky, second by Supervisor Franco. Supervisor Belsky.
This is a reappointment for Supervisor Monica Uhas, and it was voted on unanimously. She would serve as chair through the date of May 15th, 2027. I ask for your vote.
Any discussion on this item? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes unanimously.
Resolution 3, from the Judiciary and Law Enforcement Committee, a resolution to approve the appointment of Daniel Gashke to serve on the Joint Services Board. This passed unanimously at committee. Supervisors Brookhouse and Gray excused.
Supervisor Belsky.
I move Resolution 3.
Moved by Supervisor Belsky, second by Supervisor Garcia. Supervisor Belsky.
Thank you. This appointment is an interim appointment, and it will go through August 23rd, 2026. There was some discussion regarding Vice Chair Gashke serving, but everyone voted unanimously. I ask for your vote.
Is there any discussion on this item? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Resolution 4, from the Judiciary and Law Enforcement Committee, a resolution to approve the 2024 Activity Control License, Country Thunder East LLC. This passed unanimously at committee. Supervisors Brookhouse and Gray excused.
Supervisor Belsky.
I move Resolution 4.
Moved by Supervisor Belsky, second by Supervisor Morrissey. Supervisor Belsky.
Thank you. This activity control license has increased by $17,000 over last year, and it is held, the Country Thunder is held for the dates of July 19th through July 24, 2024. We ask for your approval on this resolution.
Thank you, Supervisor Belsky. Supervisor Gray, do you have a question?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. To Supervisor Belsky or another committee member, I had understood that there were some substantial modifications made to the Country Thunder operation in terms of attendance, in terms of hours, enforcement, and so forth. Do you have that type of detail with you this evening?
I don't have it with me this evening, but I can tell you that they've reduced the closing time which helped significantly last year, so they'll be imposing that. They'll also be making changes to the campground area, because that tends to be where all the activity is. So only people that are actually camping will be permitted on site, so that should alleviate a lot of issues.
That sounds good. In terms of enforcement, do we have any concept in terms of personnel compared to last year, any differential?
No, it will remain the same.
Okay. So maybe at some convenient time, if we could just have that disseminated, the conversations or the points that you made, just put to the county board supervisors in an email format so we're aware of it. But I applaud that. I think it's a step in the right direction. I mean, it's been, I don't know how enforcement, we could ask our gentlemen in the back room here if they've had experience at Country Thunder and what their experiences are. But just in general, I'd like to make sure that we have a handle on this. And do you have any input for enforcement through the chair? Is that acceptable when we have enforcement speak?
Yes, Captain Klinkhammer.
Hi, Captain Klinkhammer, Sheriff's Department. I'm in charge of Country Thunder this year, as I was the last year. I've been at Country Thunder for pretty much my entire career every summer. I guess if you could restate the question.
It would be in terms of the way the changes are proposed for this year. We assume they're beneficial, so that's the first question. The second question is, are there any additional resources that you think you need that you don't have currently to address it this season?
There's no major changes. Last year, Country Thunder was very responsive to what we held them to. We have an understanding with them, and they know that if things go wrong, we will hold them accountable next year. And we did that with traffic, we did that with attendance for what happened in 2022 last year, and they held themselves to what we wanted and our standard. The town of Randall asked that they reduce their hours of operation to 1 a.m. instead of 2 a.m. And it was approved in the cup this year, so we will be enforcing that. As far as enforcement, I think we have a handle on things. I am very confident that based on our staffing levels, we can handle anything that's thrown at us out there.
That satisfies my question. Thank you.
Thank you, Captain Klinkhammer. Supervisor Thomas.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. I have a question for maybe anyone who can answer this. Has there ever been a study done that provides the positive economic impact of hosting this in the western part of the county, or perhaps a negative economic impact for perhaps Twin Lakes if they have additional law enforcement requirements? Or is anybody aware of anything that's been done in that regard in all these years?
I don't believe anything has been done.
Andy Buehler, Director of Planning and Development. There was a study a handful of years ago which we can look for. It was for an economic impact analysis was performed, and I can look that up and disseminate that to you or and whoever would want it.
Yeah, that would be great. We have this huge event out there, and I'm just curious if it's more headaches and it doesn't create any positive economic impact for the community. I have a feeling it probably has more positive economic impact for Richmond and Lake Geneva and in Illinois than it does for Kenosha County. And I'm just curious if whether or not we should continue doing this year. Not a question, but maybe after this year, if it's not providing any positive economic impact. It certainly is, over the years, has brought some less than ideal circumstances and a perception of the county that I'm sure we didn't want. So, but yeah, anything that could be provided would be great.
Will do.
Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Thomas. Andy, would you be able to send that out to the entire board?
Sure thing.
Thank you. Supervisor Norgan.
Thank you, Chair Uhas. In response to Supervisor Thomas, I was the first person that voted for Country Thunder when I was on the town of Randall when it came in, and this is a far change from what it was back then. And it was the Wild West. It was unbelievably out of control, and it has so much gotten back in control. But to address economic impact, believe me, Twin Lakes makes out very well. Their restaurants, their markets there, or a market there. I'm sure the dollar store is going to do well, too. So, yeah, they do very, very well, as Richmond does, and I'm sure as Lake Geneva does. But Randall having no infrastructure for any of that, they all go to Twin Lakes, and they do very, very well there. I don't know what the numbers are, but I'm sure Andy will get those for you. So, thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Resolution 5 from the Judiciary and Law Enforcement Committee, a resolution to approve the probationary cabaret license, Honey Dippers, 34500 Geneva Road, New Munster, Wisconsin. This passed unanimously at committee. Supervisors Brookhouse and Gray excused.
Supervisor Belski.
I move Resolution 5.
Moved by Supervisor Belski, second by Supervisor Franco. Supervisor Belski.
This was approved unanimously, and Mr. Fry was on site for any questions, which is always very helpful. We went over incidents related to the business, and incidents identified were not directly related. They just happened to be off the property, or it was called in at that location. Given that, I would ask for your support in approving this probationary cabaret license.
Thank you, Supervisor Belski. Any discussion on this item? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion. Let the record reflect Supervisor Meadows voted nay.
Resolution 6 from the Judiciary and Law Enforcement Committee, a resolution to approve the intergovernmental agreement to provide water patrol enforcement services to Camp and Center Lake Rehabilitation District. This passed unanimously at committee. Supervisors Brookhouse and Gray excused.
Supervisor Belski.
I move Resolution 6.
Motion by Supervisor Belski, second by Supervisor Garcia. Supervisor Belski.
Thank you. We went over this quite thoroughly. The Sheriff's Department will also be using water patrol equipment from the area lake, and we've also identified that they're not to exceed $16,000. You can review it in full, but again, the committee approved it, and I ask for your vote of yes.
Any discussion on this item? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes unanimously.
Resolution 7 from the Judiciary and Law Enforcement Committee, a resolution to approve an intergovernmental agreement to provide water patrol enforcement services to Silver Lake Management District. This passed unanimously at committee. Supervisors Brookhouse and Gray excused.
Supervisor Belski.
I move Resolution 7.
Moved by Supervisor Belski, second by Supervisor Morrissey. Supervisor Belski.
This is a similar agreement to the Camp and Center Lake. Again, they will use their equipment, and I think it's a really good thing, and again, it's not to exceed, I think it was 16 hours for this one as well. Yes. We had one change on this when we brought it up, and that was that the reimbursement costs will directly come from the Wisconsin DNR Boat Enforcement Patrol Grant, so this will not affect our general fund. I ask for your approval.
Any discussion on this item? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Resolution 8 from the Judiciary and Law Enforcement and the Finance Administration Committees, a resolution to approve the Firehouse Subs Public Safety Foundation Equipment Grant for the purchase of 10 rescue pumps, ACD CPR devices, and accessories. This passed unanimously at both committees. Supervisors Brookhouse and Gray excused, and Supervisors Gashi, Gearston, and Nudo excused.
Supervisor Belski.
I move Resolution 8.
Moved by Supervisor Belski, second by Supervisor Gens. Supervisor Belski.
Yes, we had some slight changes in the Finance Committee on this. It does not impact general fund. We will need to apply for the necessary grants, and the MOU is to be signed, and then the funding agreement submitted to us for signatory. So I ask for your approval on Resolution 8.
Any discussion on Resolution 8? Hearing none, this does require a 2/3 majority vote, so it will be a roll call. If you're in favor of the resolution, you will vote yes. If you're against, you will vote no.
Resolution 8 passes unanimously. Resolution 9 from the Planning, Development, and Extension Education Committee, a resolution regarding John N. and Joyce K. Keene, owner, Dave Daniels, agent, requesting an amendment to the adopted land use plan map for Kenosha County 2035, map 65 of the comprehensive plan, from general agricultural and open land and SEC to general agricultural and open land, suburban density residential, and SEC in the town of Brighton. This passed unanimously at committee. Supervisors Brown and Thomas excused.
Supervisor Brookhouse.
I move resolution number 9.
Moved by Supervisor Brookhouse, seconded by Supervisor Meadows. Supervisor Brookhouse, would you like to talk on this item?
No.
Supervisor Brown, would you like to talk on this item? Okay.
The residents are asking for an amendment to the adopted land use plan. As the clerk mentioned, this did pass unanimously at the committee level, and I ask that the board approve this resolution.
Any discussion on this item? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes unanimously.
Resolution 10 from the Planning, Development, and Extension Education Committee, a resolution regarding Carl and Shirley Daniels Family Trust owner, Dave Daniels agent, requests an amendment to the adopted land use plan map for Kenosha County 2035, map 54 of the comprehensive plan, from farmland protection to farmland protection and suburban density residential in the town of Brighton. This passed unanimously at committee. Supervisors Brown and Thomas excused.
Supervisor Brookhouse.
I move resolution number 10.
Moved by Supervisor Brookhouse, seconded by Supervisor Meadows. Supervisor Brown.
Thank you. Again, this did pass unanimously at the committee level, and the residents are asking for an amendment to the adopted land use plan map. I ask that the board approve this resolution.
Any discussion on this item? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Ordinance 2 from the Planning, Development, Extension Education Committee, an ordinance regarding John N. and Joyce K. Keene, owner, Dave Daniels agent, requesting a rezoning from A1 Agricultural Preservation District, A2 General Agricultural District, C2 Upland Resource Conservancy District, and C1 Lowland Resource Conservancy District to A1 Agricultural Preservation District, A2 General Agricultural District, R2 Suburban Single Family Residential District, C2 Upland Resource Conservancy District, C1 Lowland Resource Conservancy District, and PUD Planned Unit Development Overlay District in the town of Brighton. This passed unanimously at committee. Supervisors Brown and Thomas excused.
Supervisor Brookhouse.
I move this ordinance number 2.
Moved by Supervisor Brookhouse, second by Supervisor Meadows. Supervisor Brown.
Again, this passed unanimously at committee. The residents are requesting rezoning. I ask that the board approve this ordinance.
Any discussion on this item? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes unanimously.
Ordinance 3 from the Planning, Development, and Extension Education Committee, an ordinance regarding John N. and Joyce K. Keene, owner, Dave Daniels, agent, requesting an amendment to the adopted land use plan map for Kenosha County 2035, map 65 of the comprehensive plan, from general agricultural and open land and SEC to general agricultural and open land and suburban density residential and SEC in the town of Brighton. This passed unanimously at committee. Supervisors Brown and Thomas excused.
Supervisor Brookhouse.
I move ordinance number 3.
Moved by Supervisor Brookhouse, second by Supervisor Meadows. Supervisor Brown.
The residents are requesting an amendment to the adopted land use plan map. This did pass unanimously at committee, and I ask that the board approve this ordinance.
Any discussion on this item? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes unanimously.
Ordinance 4 from the Planning, Development, and Extension Education Committee, an ordinance regarding Carl and Shirley Daniels Family Trust owner, Dave Daniels agent, requests a rezoning from A2 General Agricultural District to A1 Agricultural Preservation District and R2 Suburban Single Family Residential District in the town of Brighton. This passed unanimously at committee. Supervisors Brown and Thomas excused.
Supervisor Brookhouse.
I move ordinance number 4.
Moved by Supervisor Brookhouse, seconded by Supervisor Meadows. Supervisor Brown.
Thank you. The residents are requesting a rezoning. This did pass unanimously at committee, and I ask that the board approve this ordinance.
Any discussion on this item? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Which one was that? Four. Ordinance 5 from the Planning, Development, and Extension Education Committee, an ordinance regarding Carl and Shirley Daniels Family Trust owner, Dave Daniels agent, requests an amendment to the adopted land use plan map for Kenosha County 2035, map 54 of the comprehensive plan, from farmland protection to farmland protection and suburban density residential in the town of Brighton. This passed unanimously at committee. Supervisors Brown and Thomas excused.
Supervisor Brookhouse.
I move ordinance number 5.
Moved by Supervisor Brookhouse, seconded by Supervisor Meadows. Supervisor Brown.
The residents are requesting an amendment to the adopted land use plan map. I ask that the board approve this ordinance.
Any discussion on this item? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Ordinance 6 from the Planning, Development, and Extension Education Committee, an ordinance regarding Shenning Revocable Trust owner, Don Shenning agent, requests a rezoning from A1 Agricultural Preservation District and C2 Upland Resource Conservancy District to R2 Suburban Single Family Residential District and C2 Upland Resource Conservancy District in the town of Wheatland. This passed unanimously at committee. Supervisors Brown and Thomas excused.
Supervisor Brookhouse.
I move ordinance number 6.
Moved by Supervisor Brookhouse, seconded by Supervisor Meadows. Supervisor Brown.
This passed unanimously at committee. The residents are requesting rezoning, and I ask that the board approve this ordinance.
Thank you. I see discussion. Supervisor Nordigan.
Thank you, Chair Uhas. Did we get any information from how Wheatland voted on this?
Andy, could you come up to the podium, please?
Andy Bueller, Director of Planning and Development, they voted in favor and it was unanimous.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Andy. Any further discussion on this item? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Communications, 16, communication from Judiciary and Law Enforcement Committee, a resolution to approve the probationary license for Stumble Inn Bar and Grill, 1501 200th Avenue in the town of Paris.
Refer to Judiciary and Law Enforcement Committee.
17, communication from the Human Services and Finance Administration Committees, a resolution to modify the Division of Aging, Disability, and Behavioral Health Services 2024 budget for a grant, Every Court is a Treatment Court initiative.
Refer to Human Services and Finance and Administration Committees.
18, communication from Andy M. Bueller regarding future items scheduled before the Planning, Development, and Extension Education Committee.
Receive and file.
Claims, 3, David Ross Harmon, property damage.
Refer to Corporation Council.
4, Michael Haley, property damage.
Refer to Corporation Council.
The approval of the May 7th, 2024 minutes by Supervisor Franco.
I move to approve the minutes from May 7th, 2024 County Board meeting.
Second by Supervisor Gentz. Supervisor Franco, any comments?
No, I just move them.
Okay, thank you. Any discussion on the item? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion by Supervisor Grady, second by Supervisor Nordigan. All in favor?
Aye.